Welcome back, lovely listeners, to our third episode of the Book Witches podcast, where Inez and I, Grace
Hello.
that is, will be talking about the third book in the Court series by Sarah J. Maas, A Court of Wings and Ruin. And we are also going to be covering A Court of Frost and Starlight, since that is kind of considered 3.1.
And it's also like less
So
than 300 pages, so yeah.
yes, and considering that all the other ones are quite long, it's just natural to bunch them together. So we'll be discussing both. So we are excited to be here. We're excited that you're here, and let's get into it.
Yay! Let's get into it.
Yes. All right. So everybody, let's grab your favorite beverage. I have my Earl Grey tea today.
I got
Make
some
sure your
OG
feet,
water right now.
beautiful, always a classic.
hmm
All right, let's make sure that our feet are planted on the ground. We'll just do a short grounding exercise just to open things up as usual. Take a few deep breaths together. Just come into the space. All right, and go ahead and take a nice deep breath, breathing all the way into the belly. And exhale all the way out. You can exhale through the mouth. We'll just do two more, just like that. And then on that final exhale, just go ahead and gather all your stress, all your anxiety, and blow it all the way out of your body. Lovely. All right, so let's do a quick vibes check. Inez, how's your mood? What's your mood going into this episode?
Yes, I'm excited because this is like all of the things are colliding together. This is like peak climax of the story where like it goes down. Like I cried during this book. It's intense.
Yes, it is. It's a really definitely a lot of stuff going on. A lot, like Inez said, there's the major climax is happening. We're kind of really building up to the last and final chapter of the story. And so I think we should definitely do a little, just a recap, just to provide some context for our listeners,
hmm
of what's happening in A Court of Wings and Ruins. So go ahead, Inez, I'll let you take the floor. Why don't you go ahead and get into our concise summary, and then I'll go ahead and do 3.1.
Yeah, so we leave on the last book, A Court of Wings and Ruin. Feyre begins to be an undercover agent in the Spring Court after the last book, A Court of Mist and Fury. She's pretending to reconcile with Tamlin, pretending that the Night Court is evil, and she's secretly working to undermine him from within, spreading misinformation, sowing discord among his allies. And her whole goal is to weaken the Supreme Court's ties with Hybern, which is the powerful invading force threatening Prythian.
Mm-hmm.
She's manipulating Lucian,
Mm-hmm.
Ianthe, and Tamlin. Uh, and she does it. She does a really awesome job. So, like during the summer solstice, Feyre uses her light powers to make her called in blessed, like where the dawn light shines on Feyre instead of Ianthe, which she's
Mm-hmm.
now like powerful and people respect her and like think she's blessed. And then there's one night where Feyre has a panic attack and nightmare, and she goes to Lucian for comfort after this nightmare. And Tamlin comes in, is like, "What is going on?" And he kind of throws a fit, but I thought it was weird and low-key like shipped it, to be honest, because
Mm-hmm.
there's that, and also as she's sowing this discord, eventually Feyre escapes with Lucian, Tamlin's emissary, and returns to the Night Court, reuniting with Rhysand, her mate, and the Inner Circle. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, whoa, is that a ship? Like side salad or something?
I know, right? I feel like there's definitely that energy's a little bit there, I would say.
Yeah, it's a little bit like, I don't know. I thought it was a fun idea.
I think so. I definitely think that you kind of cock your head to the side a little bit. You're like, I wonder.
Yeah, right. And so,
Just to be fair, I liked Lucian from the beginning. I kind of always liked his snarky little attitude, and I think that, I think that's part of why it's fun to think of him as a potential partner or romantic interest for Feyre. So,
yeah. Yeah, I liked him because when she was first in the first book, I started liking him more than Tamlin, and I'm like, is this gonna be a thing? Before Rhysand showed up,
mhm.
and then I'm like, okay, no, hands down. All right.
Well, I felt like the connection between Feyre and Lucian was more natural. I felt always that the connection between Feyre and Tamlin felt forced. And I think I mentioned this before. I do remember like cringing super hard when Feyre and Tamlin first hooked up because of that, like that disconnect that
Oh
I
yeah.
felt between them. So, anyways, I feel like I wouldn't have cringed as hard if she hooked up with Lucian.
Yeah, true. Well, speaking of forced, so Luc a big part of why Lucian goes back to the Night Court is because I apparently he's mated with Elaine, Feyre's sister.
Yep, that's a big thing that happens. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah,
The middles, wait, not the middles. Is she the middle? No,
I think
Elaine
she
is yeah, she's the middle.
she's the
Gosh, I
middle.
always get mixed up because I swear to me, Feyre reads as the youngest, and that's always why I get confused.
But yeah, they're
Wait,
supposed to be mated, and so like that's why he's like, okay, I gotta go back too, which is weird. I don't know.
well,
It feels
it's a big thing
forced.
because it does, and it's a big thing too because Elaine is still attached to her human life.
Yeah,
So to
yeah.
kind of tie up what essentially occurs in the summary is
Hmm.
there's war looming, right? Because the King of Hybern wants to wage this major war, and so Feyre and her allies are scrambling to gather support from the other High Lords of Prythian because that's pretty much their only option. So she has to do these really tense political negotiations, complicated family dynamics with her sisters, who, if you remember, were made into High Fae by the Cauldron. So they're originally human and now they're High Fae. And so there's growing friction happening between the courts. And that's, as Inez mentioned, we have that connection with Elaine and Lucian, and Elaine begins to show signs of strange seer-like abilities, which is exciting. So we're kind of seeing that the Cauldron has given more gifts than just to Feyre.
Yeah, and even like we Nesta seems powerful as well. She starts showing different aspects of like the glow in her eyes and like this cold flame, which props to the last book title.
Yes, yes, there's definitely a little build up there, right?
Mhm.
So, pretty much, the war reaches its climax finally. There's a brutal battle where nearly every court is forced to take part. Feyre, Rhysand, and their allies, they have to make impossible sacrifices to defend Prythian. So, there are some key moments that occur. It includes Elaine herself stabbing King Hybern with Azriel's blade. We have Nesta unleashing devastating power, and which was forthcoming or foreshadowing, I would say, because I know that there might be mixed opinions on this, but Nesta
Oh
is a
yeah.
badass, I will say. And and then Amren's shocking betrayal when she actually reveals herself as an ancient godlike being. So that was a little bit foreshadowing too, right? Because
Yeah.
from the
She,
moment she comes in,
yeah, she's like
she seems like special.
she is
Sorry.
special. Like I don't like there's a part where she's like, I'm neither like male or female. I just embody this vessel, you know? And it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
that she's older than the concept of
of time
time.
itself. Yeah.
Right, right. And so though Rhysand ends up actually briefly dying again
Oh
after
yeah.
expanding his power to save Prythian, Feyre and the other High Lords revive him using their combined strength. And so
Okay, I have a
We'll
question
just,
about
yeah,
that because
yeah.
they have to like combine the High Lords. Pharaoh convinces all the High Lords to like do the same thing that they did for her to revive Rhysand, and she got all their powers, but now Rhysand just gets his own powers back. Like he doesn't get all the other powers.
I know, and it's probably because I don't know. It's probably because it's related to the cauldron making her
Oh, I guess.
versus
Yeah.
him being born that way. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming that's kind of the idea.
Yeah, true. I'm just like, dang, why couldn't it would they would be overpowered too, plot wise. Like they would be the ultimate power couple. It would be too much.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So tell me, I mean, what are your thoughts here? Like, what do you remember most from your first read of A Court of War and Ruin?
So, well,
Or
the
Wings and Ruin? Sorry.
war and ruin, yeah.
I
Well,
know
I'm
it's called ACOWAR, so that's why I like in my head I'm like, oh yeah, it's War and Ruin. No, it's Wings and Ruin.
um definitely, well, the part that made me cry was when Rhysand dies. And
Yeah.
I think that's a big moment because Feyre doesn't so Feyre has to put her power into the cauldron because it's cracking up, and so she's trying to put it back together to like keep just keep the realm together. And she's losing power, but then Rhysand comes behind her and like adds his power to the cauldron, and she doesn't realize that he's giving it everything. And then,
Yeah.
but like as they're doing it, he like keep whispering like "I love you." I love you, he whispered into my mind. I only leaned back into him, savoring his warmth even in this non-place. And then she doesn't realize that he's dead until she's like, "Oh, okay, I'm done. I finished. It's the cauldron's back together." And she turns around and he's like splayed out behind her.
Right. I love your laughing at the end of that. Um, yeah, so that's essentially, yeah, that's what happens. I'm not gonna lie, I really feel like Rhysand should have stayed dead.
Really? I know it would have been like such a good plot. Like when authors are willing to kill off their main characters, I know it's
You
satisfying.
know, I know it's like bittersweet. It's like it hurts so good, like
Yeah.
I don't know. I just once again, this to me, okay, this is to me why this series reads a little bit more YA because it feels like all of the loose ends get tied up into a really pretty little bow.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone gets their little like happy ending in a way, and everyone is just prosperous and rich and beautiful, and
Yeah, definitely. Wait, so what
I
was
don't
your
know.
favorite? What was your favorite, or what do you remember most in this book?
I would say I think that definitely the development of both of the sisters. I think it's interesting. I mean, okay, I I hate to. I don't want to be too judgmental, but then again, that's the point of this podcast. So
Yeah.
I know I've already voiced like Feyre's not my favorite, and Elaine isn't either. I know that
No.
Feyre's supposed to be like this high lady of the court and this feminist, and she has those aspects, and she is intelligent and very clever, don't get me wrong, but man, it's like I just love Nesta's energy. She has that, because like I feel somebody who has that level of anger has like a high level of passion within them. Like I don't think that you can feel as angry as Nesta without also feeling that same level of love and sadness. It's
Hmm.
like to me somebody who's just been very hurt and invalidated and ignored for most of her life, but she's also like has this sharpness to her. She's like there we use a lot of those images and of course, plot spoiler a little bit that the last book, which is A Court of Silver Flames, is definitely going to be featuring Nesta as the main character.
Yeah.
It's kind of, her story. But yeah, that's I think what I love the most is getting to know the sisters more and really understanding their psyches more and why they work the way they work, and also seeing the relationships between Elaine and Lucian, and then later Nesta and Cassian start to evolve. And so I enjoyed that. Like, I'm not as much into
Yeah.
the war part.
I know it's a little weird because there's also, I mean, when I didn't notice this, but like when my husband read the book, he's like, yeah, reading the war parts, like you can obviously tell like Sarah J. Maas does not really like know war strategy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's just like, okay, they all gathered and then he throws a huge fireball and it hits a bunch and it's just like, okay, okay. It doesn't seem very like tactical. It's just like who's the more powerful one, I guess, right? But
Right.
and there's this one part where it's during the war, Feyre actually is in the tent after like something happened. She comes back and they're tired and she's in the tent with her with Rhysand and they have this like love making night in the tent with like everyone else right there nearby. And I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
I don't know if I would be doing that. Or maybe, I don't know.
I know. There that and that's kind of, I don't mean any disrespect to the author. I think though that sometimes those funny little details, once again, read a little bit more YA to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I feel that.
I, yeah, like we've talked about this before. Sometimes when things are a little too cutesy or framed in a little cookie cutter way, that reads sometimes as YA, which, hey, I am not like hating on that at all because I think that there's definitely like YA has a place even for adult readers. I know
Yeah.
Inez loves it and I love certain ones too. And,
Hmm.
but sometimes I think that maybe I just have like a little bit of a darker side to me. I do like to read a little bit more of the darker, kind of realistic
Oh yeah. Well,
story.
I read YAs like purely because it's a nice, easy read. It's a perfect little bow, like what you said. Like all of the ends are tied up real nice and everyone's like happy at the end. And it's just really easy and it like relieves my mind from daily stresses.
That's
So,
right. And I was
right.
gonna say, if you have like so you suffer from anxiety, or you just have a stressful life and you love to read, but you don't necessarily want to get into the nonfiction horrors of the world currently happening, or you just don't want to read about serious topics, then YA is always a wonderful genre to just escape and, maybe reconnect with your inner child even.
Yeah. So, was there was there a plot twist that shocked you the most in ACOWAR?
I don't know. I don't know if anything really necessarily shocked me. Well, okay, I think it was pretty surprising, I guess, that Lucian was Elaine's mate. Um, that was
Yeah.
just maybe like the only part where I was like, oh. But in general, like I think I mentioned, I think Amren's, betrayal and her coming out as this spirit, it was foreshadowed in the other books.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time it talks about how her eyes also have this like depth, this ungodly depth to them that isn't of this world, right?
Hmm.
Um, I like her a lot, though she's a no nonsense character, which I always appreciate, especially in YA.
Yeah.
So you can tell like she and Nesta are probably my favorite. Yeah, I think that was really it. How about you? Is there anything that shocked you necessarily?
Oh my God, the cereal. Can we talk about the cereal?
Yes, yes. Let's talk about the cereal.
Like the cereal is our bestie, okay? It helped Feyre through when she was in the spring
Well,
court,
first, yeah, yeah. So
right?
remind what do we want to remind exactly what the cereal is?
Yeah.
So the cereal is one of the strange, ancient, and dangerous fairy creatures that exist in this world. So it's considered a lesser fae, but it is immensely knowledgeable about hidden truths, prophecies, and secrets. So it has a lot of universal knowledge. It holds all of that. So the Suriel is often described as a tall humanoid figure wrapped in ragged robes with grotesque, unsettling features. So it definitely looks eerie and otherworldly, almost like skeletal. Definitely a creeper. Um,
Yeah.
but the defining ability is truth telling. So if it's captured and asked the right questions, the Suriel is compelled to speak the truth. So you have to trick it.
Yeah, and Feyre tricks and catches it in. the first book to learn about the curse from under the mountain on the
Right,
spring
right. And
court.
which is it's like very difficult to catch the cereal normally, right? So
Yeah.
Feyre uses her skills as a huntress to be able to catch the cereal. And so yeah, she gains vital information from the cereal. So she learns about Tamlin's curse in A Court of Thorns and Roses from the cereal. And then she also discovers the depth of the mating bond with Rhysand in
Mhm.
A Court of Mist and Fury. And so, despite the cereal being eerie and feared, it becomes kind of like a quiet ally to Feyre. So, as Inez mentioned, we stan a cereal.
Yes. So, so in A Court of Wings and Ruin, in the current book, Elaine gets captured by Hybern, and
Hmm.
Feyre goes undercover into the camp. She disguises herself as Ianthe and
Hmm.
tries to bring back Elaine. And as she's like going through the camp, she's discovered by the Suriel who's there, information that Nesta must nullify the cauldron and must bring it together. Like she's the one to do this. And
And
then
let's because you mentioned it, I really also, as we're talking a little bit about characters, and sorry to cut you off,
yeah,
but I
yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
want to talk a little bit about Ianthe because oh, I could not stand her.
Oh
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I know. Ianthe, so she is the like the church person in the
Yeah, you
spring
see, you
court,
love to
no?
hate her. Yeah, you
Yes.
love to hate her. She's definitely one of she's a she I would call her like a pick me girl. You know, like she's one of those who's like not like the other girls, huh? Like you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There are girls that are like that are actually like against other women, you know? I can't stand that.
Yeah.
She's so go ahead.
She's like she's very religious. So she puts up this religious front like, "Oh yeah, I'm perfect, but but I'm not like the other ones. Like I'm actually really cool." And I she has like this underground like sexual history too, which is weird,
Yeah.
which goes against her like religious at front. So it just seems very inconsistent. We love to hate her. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's very disturbing and she like you said she comes off as this like she's very pious and she's very beautiful, you know, she's like the epitome of beauty. She's a high priestess of the spring court and so
Hmm.
she's you know, she acts like she's devoted to the cauldron, which as you remember is like their god essentially. That's, you know, the Fae of Prythian
Hmm.
kind of see the cauldron as that. And so she tries to befriend Feyre early on. She kind of portrays herself as an ally, but you kind of feel that she's manipulative from the get-go. I think she definitely has like a creepy, slimy vibe to her from the get-go. And
Yeah. So wait, so when she confronts her, Feyre confronts Ianthe when she's leaving with Lucian, and Ianthe is like, "What are you doing?" and tries to stop Feyre, but doesn't Feyre kill her? Or
yeah, so okay, yeah, so so we like Lucian, and so again, Ianthe actually assaults Lucian, uses her power and position to corner him into acts against his will. She like essentially
Mhm.
rapes him.
Yeah.
And she seeks to secure her own survival by aligning with Hybern. So yeah, she goes against everyone and says, I'm gonna align with Hybern instead. So she betrays not only the Spring Court, but Feyre and others who had once trusted her. And so it becomes really evident when she works with the King of Hybern to try and trap Feyre, showing that she has no loyalty beyond her own self-interest. And so her treachery finally catches up with her in this book. Feyre and her allies see her true nature clearly, and she loses whatever influence she once held. And yeah, she's definitely
Mhm.
not as big of a threat as, for example, Amarantha was or Hybern is, but it's like more dangerous in a more insidious personal way.
Yeah. Like she's the one you gotta look out for when you're trying to do your goal. She's the one that will stab you in the back just for her own profit.
I wonder too, and maybe this is going a little bit too deep. I almost wonder if Ianthe is kind of this symbol of religion. Maybe I'm thinking too deeply about it,
No,
but
I definitely felt that too. Yeah.
Right? It's like corruption disguised as holiness, which
Hmm.
if you're paying attention to what's happening in the world right now, I think we see a lot of that. Where
Hmm.
people are acting holier than thou and at the same time being extremely judgmental and using shame, against others. And
Yeah,
yeah, she's someone that you really like to unload a lot of your resentment and hate on, I would say.
I know. And like talk about like not religious guilt, but using religion to not put yourself accountable for the things you've done. So like
Right.
Ianthe has this like secret like sexual deviancy that she's like
Right.
kind of proud of, but has to be secret because she's a high priestess. And it's just like, what girl, what are you doing?
She
I
is
don't know.
definitely the classic wolf in sheep's clothing. Am I right?
Yeah. So she aligns herself with Hybern, and so that's how Feyre is able to use her as a disguise to go into Hybern's camp to rescue
Yeah,
Elaine.
right.
Um, and and so as she's like getting Elaine, she's caught talking with the serial after she gets the information from the serial. Someone shoots the cereal and it dies. And
Yeah.
Feyre is there, like holding him and just there with him. And I'm like, what? I think that was a twist.
Okay. I cried. I'm going to admit it and say that I cried at that scene. I was like, I got very choked up. I think I'll say that maybe that was also another, big plot twist that was very unsuspected. Because, you don't suspect that you're going to get attached to this, like,
Yeah.
creepy character who is kind of gross, but at the same time,
I know
noble.
even though they're it's like a fey creature, it doesn't seem fey. It seems like a sort of monster that gives you info.
Like a primordial fae, if you will.
Oh yeah, true, yeah. But
To me, anyway, I don't know. I wonder if the cereal is connected to Amryn. I don't know if that's ever said or mentioned, but I feel like
oh,
it's similar kind of energy, like the ancient
ancient, yeah.
ancient knowledge, like having access to that and stuff. So,
Oh, true, yeah. Mm. But yeah, so who redeems themselves as like Feyre's rescuing Elaine, Tamlin comes in and helps bring her back to the original camp, the OG camp. And I
right.
want to talk about Tamlin a little bit because there's some like sexism going on here, like in the
Yeah.
beginning of the book and stuff. So I want to go back where the Night Court is trying to rally all of the High Lords, and they're gonna all meet at the Dawn Court, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's when the famous like throwdown they
Mm-hmm.
talk. But I want to describe the Dawn Court a little bit because it's honestly beautiful. Like when they
Yeah, are you
go,
gonna read a quote?
yeah, can I read a quote? It's like a parable.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, read it, read it.
so it's the first time Nesta is there and she just sees like awe on her face. But this is from Feyre's description of the Dawn Court. I've learned enough from Reese about what to expect from the Dawn Court, but even the vistas he's painted for me didn't do the sight justice. It was the clouds I saw first. Enormous clouds drifting in the cobalt sky, soft and magnanimous, still tinged by the rose remnants of sunrise, the round edges gilded with the golden light. The dewy freshness of morning lingered in the balmy air as we peered up at the mountain palace, spiraling into the heavens above. If the palace above the court of nightmares had been crafted of moonstone, this was made from sunstone. I didn't have a word for the near opalescent golden stone that seemed to hold the gleaming of a thousand sunrise within it. Steps and balconies and archways and verandas and bridges linked the towers and the gilded domes of the palace. Periwinkle morning glories climbing the pillars and neatly cut blocks of stone to drink in the gilding mist wafting by. Just take a
Ugh,
moment to take that in. It sounds beautiful.
absolutely beautiful. Yeah. And so Definitely,
Mhm.
probably my favorite part of the series is the descriptions that Sarah J. Maas uses
Right.
for the different courts. Yeah,
I
that was
know.
beautiful.
Oh, just the clouds, like the color in the clouds. Ooh, so
Or the
satisfying.
periwinkle morning glories. That used to be one of my favorite Crayola colors.
Yeah.
Anyone
Oh my
else
God.
remember the periwinkle crayon, the like light blue purple? So pretty.
Yes. Oh my God. I love periwinkle. I love them all though. I couldn't have a favorite. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is where like all the High Lords are meeting. This is like the famous quote where Tamlin's like being a jock bro jerk to Feyre.
Yeah.
Tamlin does not know that she is now the High Lady of the Night Court as well as Rhys's mate.
Hmm.
And all the High Lords are there. They're not expecting Tamlin because they're assuming he's associated himself with Hybern, so he's not really coming. But they start the meeting, and tensions are high already. But then he winnows in. He like appears the meeting a little bit late, like he do. He comes in and he just like stares at Feyre, and he's like, "Okay, oh, this is how we're doing it." And
Yeah.
High Lord of the Dawn Court, Kalius, is like, "Why are you here, Tamlin?" And Tamlin is just like, "I'm just trying to get my woman back. You know, I meant to fight Hybern, trying to find a way around my bargain. I guess it's for naught. Like, all this is all like a petty grudge, either for her or like her masters, kind of like insinuating that Rhysand is her master."
Hmm. Right.
And Feyre's like, "You don't get to rewrite that narrative. You don't get to spin this to your advantage." And then cursing alert, but Tamlin only angled his head at Race. "When you fuck her, have you ever noticed that little noise she makes right before she climaxes?" And like I could hear the whole meeting be like, "Ooh, shoot."
Yeah, that's pretty,
It's it's like Mean Girls up in here. I don't know. There's so
yeah,
many memes about that like single scene. It's so funny. Oh my God.
it is, yeah.
But
I know. Tamlin's a cringe lord.
yeah. So I mean, he's already has this toxicness at the spring court, and then he's showing
You
like
know
this
what?
petty, stupid
I
stuff
feel like the
now.
curse broke him. The curse broke him. It broke his like manhood and character, and I just feel like he's just an angry, resentful little dude now,
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
opinion.
But he redeems himself when he saves Elaine. He helps Feyre save Elaine,
Yeah, a
which
little, I
a
guess.
little bit, but it's still not enough. It's like when your ex is nice to you and you're like, maybe, but nah. No.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely has that vibe. It's like your cringy ex that you dated in high school, and you're like, oh man, the hormones, what did they make me do? You know? Anyway, so it's
Yeah.
yeah, and then like we said, okay, we'll get back to essentially how this ties up.
Yeah.
Elaine kills the King of Hybern, hoorah, with Azrael's blade, and yeah, Nesta unleashes her devastating power. And then, so essentially, Prythian is saved.
Hmm.
Yay, happy ending. But everyone's pretty much deeply scarred, as you would be after this, huge battle, this huge war. Because there
Hmm.
was just a major buildup, and then the curses, and then, I mean, there's so much happening, and so like alliances have shifted, families are broken, and Feyre and Rhys have to start rebuilding in the aftermath of war, and so. It ends as Feyre embracing her role as High Lady of the Night Court
Hmm.
fully, and so she vows to protect both her people and her fragile circle of loved ones. And so while this book, A Court of Wings and Ruin, it provides resolution to the central war, it still leaves some lingering tensions. So it paves the way for the final book. And then why don't we get into 3.1, which we talked a little bit about in the beginning. It's that little kind of
Oh
little
yeah.
side quest story, A Court
Yeah.
of Frost and Starlight.
Yeah, the winter Christmas episode. The Yule
Essentially,
episode.
yep. The Yule episode, yeah. So it's like a little novella bridge between the end of the original trilogy and the start of like the spin-off books, right?
Yeah.
Because
Um,
I would say like the last book is like a spin-off with Nesta as the main character.
yeah, definitely. So the Court of Frost and Starlight, it ends on the last book. The war with Hybern has ended, but Feyre and Rhysand are now faced with difficulties rebuilding Valaris, which is the Night
Hmm.
Court, and the wider land of Prythian. So even though the immediate threat is gone, the scars of war remain, physical damage to the city, as well as like the deep emotional trauma carried by the survivors, including Nesta and Elaine. And I
Hmm.
think Nesta kind of holds a lot of it, which goes into the last book. But as the winter solstice approaches, she embraces, as you were saying, her new role, and it focuses, so this book kind of focuses on the smaller, intimate moments, the gift giving, the quiet reflection on loss. And it gives more perspective. So each chapter is a different perspective. It kind of goes between Feyre, Rhysand, Moore, and also like Cassian, which is cool to see because then you can kind of see like the build up between, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but the buildup between Nesta and Cassian, I was like so oblivious to it
Right.
until this book.
Yeah, and that's yet like you're saying, they're actually each chapter is actually from the first person perspective of each character.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really fun. I agree. I
Hmm.
think that yeah, like it definitely is like a little Christmas episode. There's some like humorous dynamics that are happening within the inner circle, and of course the gift giving I would say is like pretty much the high point of the whole book because you're excited to see what everyone's going to give and what everyone's going to get, and
Hmm.
so, and you still feel a little bit of that underlying tension, I'd say. There's some tensions that are simmering beneath the surface. So, we definitely see Nesta withdrawing more into herself.
Hmm.
So, she's totally consumed by guilt, anger, and trauma. So, she's already a little ball of anger when we first meet her from her human trauma and upbringing and
Hmm.
life. And so then she becomes a high fae against her will because if you recall, Nesta is not so keen on the fae. She's I would say one of the humans that is definitely not trusting or liking of the fae. There's definitely like racial tensions
Yeah.
between the humans and the fae, and she's definitely not on the pro side,
Yeah.
so to speak. So
She's a
then
little
she pretty much
racy.
is, yeah, she turns into like what she hates the most. So that definitely will add a little bit more gas to that fire. And then
Hmm.
the whole war happens, and so she's broken. She's isolate herself completely from her family and friends. She doesn't want anything to do with them. She just wants to suffer and be miserable. And she kind of wants to play out her traumas with destructive behaviors,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And I think that makes her really real, though. I think that makes her so relatable from a human
Hmm.
perspective. Like we see her being this high fae, she has the beauty and the longevity and the powers, but she has these very human and vulnerable. And so I think that's why I really like her. It's complex to me compared to all the other female characters. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so uh
Yeah, I
and then
agree.
Elaine, yeah, right? Yeah. So then Elaine struggles with her new identity as Faye as well. She also has her struggles with it because she was really excited to get married to her human fiance, who unfortunately is pretty much like the leader of the Faye Ku Klux Klan.
I
If there was
know.
one, that's pretty much like the equivalent of like her. So of course,
Hmm.
like when she turns into Faye, that's a big problem. She can't be with them anymore. And so
Hmm.
yeah, then she mates with Lucian, which, as we know, it's kind of against their will. It's just this bond that's designed. It's like a natural
Yeah.
thing. You can't really go against it. And
Well,
so, yeah,
Lucian is like being like, "Hey, so we're mates. Can we like make this work or something?" And Elaine is just like, "Bro, I got PTSD. Please leave me alone. Bye."
please leave me alone.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about all of the gifts that were exchanged because I think that was definitely probably the funnest part of the book.
Yeah, well,
Tell us what Feyre gave everybody.
yeah, so Feyre, I mean Feyre's a painter, so she basically just gives everyone a painting.
Well, that's, I would say, very thoughtful and personal.
It is. I mean, I am guilty of that too.
Don't say guilty. I love your art.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I know. Well, what she paints is very, very thoughtful and it's beautiful, like the way it's described. So she paints Rhysand, painting of the stars, Illyrian mountains, and the
Hmm.
cabin where they fell in love. You know, that scene where they don't have two beds and it's just a single bed that they have to sleep in.
Right.
She paints Cassian a painting of Nesta. And so
Hmm.
this is like, okay, there's something going on here. Like there's no denying their connection between Nesta and Cassian.
Hmm.
She paints more mountains of the valleys that she loves.
Hmm.
Amryn gets the blood ruby she gave Feyre in book two.
Hmm.
Nesta and Elaine both get a painting of all the three sisters together. And I think that's a beautiful like nod to the triple goddess too. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
And then she gives Asriel a painting of the snow and stars. That image of the mountains and the three stars above the mountains. Or I believe isn't that no, that's Rhysand's painting, right? The three stars
Yeah.
where
Yeah,
they f
it's for, well,
yeah,
Azriel's also has stars.
that's true.
So, but
He appreciates it. Yeah.
he does. He's like, quiet beauty for the quiet gentle giant. Um, I don't know, I felt like Rhysand's gifts were like kind of like dude gifts, like typical dude gifts almost. I don't know. I mean, okay. So yeah, Feyre, so he buys her a new painting studio in Valaris. Very
Wow.
nice.
You cannot top that gift.
Like said the artist, right?
Oh yeah, true.
Is that your dream gift from Chris?
Yeah, that would be my dream. He would have to be like a multimillionaire.
You hear that, Chris? You better put that on your list and start saving up now.
Yeah.
All right. And so for Amryn, he gives her a solid gold jewelry box filled with gems, which of course, Reese is known for his indulgence. And so
Hmm.
he gives her a little box of baubles. And then Cassie and Azriel, very practical and thoughtful. Those are like his brothers, so they get new fighting leathers slash gear. Perfect. And then for Nesta and Elaine, he gives them books and clothes, so gesture of care. And so things are a little strained. Reese and Nesta are not, like the best of friends,
Oh yeah.
um, for now.
Whenever they come into contact, like Nesta like gives major crap to Reese. Like it's
I'm
just like
glad someone does. I'm sorry. Like Reese, once again, just too perfect. You
that's
just want
true.
something to be a little like, I don't know. That's what I appreciate Nesta. She's, she stirs the pot like us. We need her. She's a good like little buffer.
Yeah.
So then we'll just go over like, so then Cassian, he gave Nesta a book on flying, which, it's like his little cheeky way of provoking her. Because she doesn't know how to fly and he has wings, so that's like his specialty. And
Hmm.
Feyre gets a shield and dagger fighting set. And I don't really, it was something funny he gave Reese, but I don't really remember
Uh,
100%.
wasn't
And
it like an inside joke or something? I don't know. It
yeah, they
doesn't,
banter over it.
yeah.
It's not clear, is it?
It's not clear. It's just like,
Okay.
okay, you had to be there."
It's like a
Okay.
jock gift, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Azriel, which is weird. Like, I feel like some of the others, like, why there weren't, I don't know, did they not give it to everyone? Like, Azriel gave a gift to Elaine. He gave her a carved jewelry box, which he spent hours on, which is very sweet. And then he gives Pharaoh like a flying lessons credit.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then yeah, more, of course, she's, girly girl, gives Pharaoh a fancy gown. And then she gives Nesta rather a dagger, which, is good. I think that's a good gift for Nesta. She'd use that more than a fancy gown.
Yeah. More like an ornamental kind of dagger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Amryn loves her baubles, so she gave Feyre a beautiful necklace and gave Rhys some snarky words, but also some jewelry.
Yeah.
And then the sisters, tell us what
Oh
the
yeah.
sisters.
So Elaine, she's getting into like her cottage core, so she's baking cookies for everyone.
Hmm.
And then Nesta is just isolating herself and doesn't give anyone a gift. And
Yeah,
I
which we kind of expect.
right, and I think that's how it ends, right? That's how the Frost and Starlight ends, where she's just like fed up.
Well, hold on. But then we have a huge, big thing that comes at the end. We learn that
Oh
Miss Feyre
yeah.
is preggers. She's pregnant.
Oh my God.
She's expecting. She's gonna be a mama.
She's got something in there.
Yup. She's got a bun in the oven. Elaine's not the only one baking something, guys.
Oh yeah.
Um,
And I think that
she's that
doesn't that like put that's like another way Feyre is like making her own family and then Nesta is just like, well, like I'm screwed. I'm just on the sidelines, right? And then she kind of leaves because Feyre's pregnant and like Feyre's like she just imagines Feyre is perfect. Her life's perfect now. She's starting her family and whatever.
I think, yeah, Nesta's bitter. And you brought up a really good point earlier. You said that like the three sisters kind of represent the triple goddess. Let's talk a tiny bit about that. Let's
Yeah.
first explain what the symbol of the triple goddess is. So if you've seen this symbol, it
Hmm.
is a popular one, especially in like pagan communities. It's like a full moon in the center, and then on the opposite sides of that, on the left and right, we have two crescent moons facing away from the center full moon.
Hmm.
And so it's known as the triple goddess symbol. It's used predominantly in Wicca.
I
And
also
it represents, Mhm. Sorry, go
real
ahead.
quick, I want to note
Yeah.
that it's even though so we're in the northern hemisphere, right? And so
Yeah.
the the moons are facing outwards because that's how the moon cycle goes, like into the new moon, the crescent is facing towards the left. But I want to say it's the opposite on the southern hemisphere.
Oh, good point. I didn't even know that.
So
That's really
yes, it
interesting.
like it's the opposite. So for the triple goddess, I guess in the southern hemisphere would be the full moon in the center still, but the crescents are facing inwards towards the full moon.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even know
Yeah,
that. That makes a lot of sense because like when we're talking, I mean the seasons are opposite too, right? In the northern
right.
and southern hemisphere. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
But go
but yeah, the
into
trip.
what it represents.
Yeah, so it represents the three aspects of the divine feminine. So we call her the triple goddess, and not just the three aspects of the divine feminine, but also the three stages that women, I won't say all women because obviously not all women become mothers, but the three classic stages of divine feminine and womanhood. So we have the full moon is represented as the mother, right? And then we have the first crescent moon on, was it on the left? That is represented as the maiden. So the maiden is the first stage, right? Because that
Mm.
makes sense that we're born as maidens, before we're mothers. And then the middle stage is like the mother. She's the complete one. She's the creator. She is the life giver.
Yeah.
That's like, in where women would be probably like in their prime. It's when we're in our life-giving ages, right?
Yeah, and
We're
mother
at our
doesn't have to
peak.
mean like to be a mother to give birth. It can also mean just abundance of creation itself. It doesn't have to mean like to be a mother,
Very
but
good point.
right,
Very
it's
good
that
point. Yeah.
stage of life of abundance.
Yes, it's like that state. So when we're maidens, it's like we're in the stage of learning, right? We're taking in everything. And I think that when we're talking about the three sisters, Elaine, the youngest, definitely represents that,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
She's like the very innocent one. She's like the gentle, pretty one.
She's
That's what
gardening,
we
she's
see.
baking. Yeah.
Yeah, we see her as almost like the little girl, like the definitely the idea of innocence and inexperience. Those themes are ringing true. And then Feyre obviously is going to be represented as the mother because when we see her, then she is going to become a mother. And so as Inez mentioned. It's not
Mhm.
necessarily like you have to be an actual mother, but yeah, it represents like you at the woman at her greatest strength and power and creation. And so that creation can mean motherhood, but it can also mean creating something else for yourself, and for
Right.
others. So, and then the final stage of the triple goddess is the crone. So that's the woman who has gone through menopause. And when women enter the later stage of their life, they become more of like the wisdom
Yeah.
pools, right? We go to our elder females and we seek advice and wisdom from them, and they are the teachers. They're the ones who are to lead us and to show us the way. And so each of us essentially goes through those stages. And so I would say it's interesting that Nesta
Mhm.
has that. She represents that, and I think that we'll definitely understand and see more of what that means in the last book.
Yeah. And I think also women or like people who experience menstrual cycles, we like go through the triple goddess like every month, kind of, right?
Yes,
So,
yes.
like,
Well, hey, no, that thank you for saying that. That's
yeah.
talking about the microcosm and the macrocosm. This might be a little bit above some's heads, but we talk about as above, so below. So when we're
Mhm.
talking about like patterns and themes, especially specifically in nature, we see that reflected in minor ways within ourselves. So as Ina says,
Right.
in the month, we see that. We even see that during our day,
The day, yeah. Right. Like
right?
it
The
goes
the
over the life, the month, and the day.
Yeah. So I think that's what's really interesting. And of course, if you love to discuss literature and think about these kinds of things and how they connect, and everything is interconnected. And when I think, explore that and feel that, there's like this sense of comfort that
Hmm.
you begin to feel. I think that's one of the things that, if you are somebody who maybe enjoys being on your own a little bit more, but then you get into this world of, patterns that you see in your own life and, the lives of others, it's like, I don't know, I remember this quote someone was saying, it's like reading, it's like somebody is like holding out a hand and then you take it, through the book. And that's just to me how being able
Yeah.
to see patterns it feels.
And then when I finish the book, I'm like, I'm losing a friend.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, completely.
Yeah. But so
So,
real quick, going back to like Wicca and paganism, I love the way that there's in the book in the Frost and Starlight, there's no mention of like Christmas or like Christianity. It's purely because of the winter solstice, the
yes,
Yuletide celebration. And that's like the
yes.
originally where Christmas comes from. I think a lot of people forget. And
Or don't know. They just don't know. I
oh,
think,
don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But
really funny.
I mean, like,
Go ahead.
but people are aware of like the changing of days. Like, we all have to change our clocks. I mean, in the US, forward and back because of the changing seasons. And so I can assume people know that there is a shortest day of the year, and that's typically
Hmm.
around December 22nd. Like, I kind of do my own practice, but with my own family to start a tradition to like celebrate on the shortest day of the year and put on the Yule log, put on the biggest log you have and start a fire and celebrate that the days are no longer short and they're slowly getting longer, right? The coldest days
Yes.
of the year.
I
Oh,
think it's such a beautiful time. And if you celebrate, if you are a Christian and you celebrate Christmas, or you're Jewish and you celebrate Hanukkah or you celebrate Kwanzaa, it's not a coincidence that all the major religions of the world celebrate at that time, and that there are these patterns of gift giving that span across all these different belief systems. And it's a really important time, I think, to reflect, because when we think about our ancestors, and this is one of the things Inez and I have in common, we both have Polish mothers.
hmm.
We
Shout
talk
out.
about that a lot.
Heyo.
Yes, shout out to our Polish mamas. Thank you, we love you. We I love to, I've been doing a lot of genealogy in the last year because my both my parents were actually born in Poland, and so I can speak Polish, and so it's always been a really big part of my life, my Polish culture, even being American. And so this year and last year, I really dove in to do genealogy, and one of the things that I can't help but really admire and love is especially the women in my family, like what they had to go through. I mean, if
Yeah.
you go back to like the 1800s and even further, in my family, they were living off the land, they were farmers. And so I kind of think about how Feyre and her family lived, in the beginning. They weren't farmers, but they probably had a lot of crossovers. Like my family had to hunt, and especially during the winter. So going back to the idea of reflection, how did our ancestors live? They were really forced to live more with the seasons than we are now. We're very sheltered,
Oh,
compared.
yeah.
So we don't feel the effects of these shifts as much. But like think about the type of food that they would have had to eat. Definitely just more preserved foods, root vegetables, foods that last longer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that like Inez was saying, it's this really big importance in understanding that this is the shortest day of the year, and now we have um, this incline to look forward to going towards the longest day of the year, which we know is the summer solstice
Yeah.
in June. And I just think it's so beautiful to
Mhm.
be able to live with these rhythms. It makes you feel so connected.
I know going to what you're saying, like to be sheltered. I mean, we're sheltered daily. Like if you're like I often find days where I don't have the windows open, I'm staying in home, like the doors closed, and then I go outside for maybe 2 minutes, get in the car windows are rolled up. Like some days I'm like not connected to the weather or the changing of seasons at all. And it's so frustrating. And so I have to take time to like actually like go outside, maybe watch the sunrise a couple times for the season, but we're very sheltered in the modern day from the daily fluctuations of life, of the seasons, which
Yeah.
it
Well,
it takes a big effort to like get connected.
it does these
Right.
days. We're very distracted. We're distracted by screens and technology. We've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, we wouldn't be able to do this podcast without technology. But I think, and of course, one of the hardest things about being an adult is that you essentially have to parent yourself. No
Yeah.
one tells you that when you're a kid. You're like, you could just do anything you want. And guess what? You can. But nine times out of 10, if you really did what you wanted, you're not going to be feeling that great.
I
So
know.
you have to parent yourself, which is really tough. And so I think that's part of that is that mindfulness of, you know, if you feel like something's missing inside, you feel like, I don't know, I mean, I don't, it's not about diagnosing, but if you're feeling like depressed, or it's not a coincidence that so many doctors even say outside of the realm of doing whatever treatments to go and be out in nature.
Hmm. Yep.
It's how important and vital that is. I think I read a study this one time that was like, why do people get super depressed in very urban environments? And it was so interesting. It's because that our human brains are actually searching for what are called fractals. And fractals are like the natural patterns and spirals that we see in nature. If you think of like a snail's shell, that's like a fractal.
Hmm.
And so apparently our brains are constantly looking for that pattern. It's like, like I said, present in all different living things. And we don't have
Yeah.
that in those big concrete, buildings. We don't see that. And so it's so interesting is that many architects right now are actually trying to incorporate more fractals into their designs
Oh
and
my
building more buildings that are keeping that in mind because our brains literally are searching and desiring to be in nature all the
Oh,
time.
heck yeah. Dang,
Yeah,
they better get on it. That's what
I
they should be
know.
doing the whole time.
Well, I think we're gonna have to overcome a bit of our monkey mind, so to speak, and get over our
Yeah.
our drive and obsession for things and money before we
I,
can really get back to basics, I'll say. But
I know it's gonna take a long time. But
we have to evolve, I say, just a little bit more. We're not judging. Everybody's on their own path, and
Mhm.
it's not. not gonna be everybody's cup of tea to want to do that, you know. Everybody has their
Yeah.
own path, I believe, and so we
If you
can't force
are
anybody.
if you are in the urban area and you're feeling a little depressed, if you feel the need for fractals, you can also eat some whole foods. Like look at a flower or look at a big bushel of like cauliflower. Cauliflower is
Yeah.
amazing to look at. Oh my God.
hmm Yeah, we see sacred geometry in all things, and that's once again, that's that theme. Everything's interconnected. There's a reason when people live on their own, they go insane. But we
Yeah.
know this. When people are like in solitary confinement, they go insane. When people are excluded from community, when people feel, like they aren't part of it, that's when we see so many people like losing their minds and getting angry. And so I just want to take a moment to maybe, anyone who's listening, maybe just think about that, how important it is to remember that we are all more alike than we're different. Even
Yeah.
those people that might come from a completely different culture than us, a different religion, a different country, anything, I guarantee you that the more you can learn to connect and talk with them, that you realize you're like, wow, like we actually have way more in common than I could ever know.
hmm And that's why we should be compassionate with everyone, with all living
We
beings,
should.
right?
I think it is human nature to maybe band up and be tribal, that once again, that's a bit of our, I would say, monkey mind, kind of monkey instincts,
hmm
ape-like instincts. We survived when we were in tribes, but
Yeah.
as we evolve, and I was just talking to my brother about this, technology has allowed for all of us to be more connected than we ever have and that we ever could fathom. And so
Yeah.
I I don't know. I think it's a natural
Well,
process for everybody to be closer together and that it's not necessarily such a scary thing for us to mesh a little bit more.
yeah, definitely think it should be like a tool to be used. To be honest, it should be used to like band together to take over this fascist
Authoritarian?
regime that's going on right now
Yeah.
in the US. Can we please like get off social media and like get band together in that way with our monkey minds?
Well, I will say that one of the best ways to start becoming aware is to read.
Yeah.
On that note, because we joke, I think sometimes of the certain like liberal arts majors that we may see as useless. I only say that because I'm an English major and I got told so many times how useless my degree is. But
Jeez.
I think reading really teaches you how to think and it teaches you how to analyze. And it's important
Mhm.
we talk about these themes and these characters, but these are the kind of characters that are really based on real life things. And so when we read more, we understand patterns and dynamics and relationships better, and that allows us to be able to lead better lives with that knowledge and awareness, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. That's a good note to wrap up
yeah,
this the last of the last of Wings and Ruin and get into Nesta's story for the next book.
absolutely. So, we're excited. Our episode 4, we will be going into a court of silver flames.
hmm
And that one is going to be the last one for the ACOTAR series. So we're excited to wrap that up because then we can move on to different books and different genres that we're really excited to talk about with you all.
Yeah.
And so,
Yay.
yeah,
Yes, I've enjoyed Feyre's story. I definitely liked her because I related with her, but I think Nesta's story is much more dynamic. And I agree with you. She's like a lot more complex as a character, which is exciting. So please hang in there. Watch out for when we post the next episode.
absolutely. I think if you're into like major character evolutions, then this last book is going to be for you. It's definitely, I think, I know I said the second one's my favorite, but just because Nesta's my favorite, the last one, I really enjoyed seeing her come into her own. And so,
hmm
so that is a
Yeah.
wrap on this episode of the Book Witches podcast. If you
Mhm.
enjoyed hanging out with us, make sure you hit follow or subscribe wherever you're listening so you'll always know when the next episode drops.
Yeah. If you want to read along with us, you can check out our curated book list on our bookshop.org. The link's in our bio. Buying things through there also supports us and keeps independent bookstores thriving. You can also tip us on coffee if you'd like to help keep the podcast brewing.
For more updates, behind the scenes chaos, and witchy bookish content, please follow us at Book Witches Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Thanks for being here, and remember, stay bold, stay curious, and keep stirring the pot.
Woo!